good. So I recently did a video about Windows Server 2012 R2 licensing and how it can be such a pain to figure out. Well, with Windows Server 2016, it's no different. And to make things more difficult, Microsoft looked at their huge spaghetti bowl of previous server licensing rules and promptly threw it out the window. Server 2016 takes a whole different approach to licensing, so listen up. If you watched my video about Windows Server 2012 R2 licensing, you may remember that the licensing comes in 3 tiers and is based on physical processors. Well, forget that, because Microsoft decided they weren't getting enough money out of us in the age of 20 and 30 core CPUs, so now they charge per core on the Standard and Data Center editions. The Essentials edition does not require CPU or core licensing. For anyone new to Windows Server licensing, you may find this video to be a little more simplistic than the one about Server 2012 R2. So let's start by defining some terms. Number 1, CAL, or C-A-L, means Client Access License. It does exactly what it sounds like. It licenses a user or a client to access services provided by that server. Number 2, RDS means Remote Desktop Services. 3, Virtualization Rights, or Virtual OSEs, can be used interchangeably. OSE stands for Operating System Environment. Both terms refer to your copy of Windows Server 2016 being virtualized on top of itself, running on the same physical box. Don't let this confuse you into thinking that it only allows a specific number of workstation VMs running on that physical server. Since Microsoft moved from a per CPU model to a per core model, now every single processor core in your server must have a license. Gone are the days when you can stick 2 behemoth CPUs in your server and avoid having to buy an additional OS license. Now, all Server 2016 Standard and Data Center editions must have at least 8 core licenses per CPU, or a total of 16 core licenses per physical server at a minimum. If your server only has 8 cores, too bad, you have to pay for 16 core licenses. Windows Server 2016 Standard and Data Center come in both 16 and 24 core variants, with the ability to buy additional core packs as needed. So there are 3 tiers of licensing for Windows Server 2016. The first tier is the OS license. That's the most basic tier. Everybody has to get this one if you want to run Windows Server. Some people are not going to need anything more than the base license, but most will require additional licensing. The second tier is base CALs. These are CALs required for users to access services provided by that server. They come in 2 variants, User CAL and Device CAL. A User CAL licenses a specific user to access the server's apps and services and the OSEs on that same box. So if you have one server standard, let's say, and then you virtualize it twice on top of itself, that one CAL works for all 3 of those servers. So you don't have to buy separate CALs for each one of them. You only have to use one or the other, so mix and match however you feel is best to get the best bang for your buck. If multiple people use the same computer, just license that one computer, not the individual employees, and you'll save some money. The third tier is called Additive Cals. These are used to activate premium features such as remote desktop services. This means that if you want to run Hyper-V on your server to virtualize workstations at your company, and you also use something such as Active Directory on the same physical server, each remote connection will need one RDS CAL in addition to the base CAL for users or devices. In conclusion, Windows Server 2016 comes in 3 different editions: Data Center, Standard, and Essentials. The top 2 use per core licensing and require a minimum of 16 processor cores to be licensed per server. Every server will need an OS license with the proper core licenses. Most servers are going to need additional base CALs for users connecting to it and its services, and some servers may also require additive CALs for licensing remote desktop services connections. If you would like us to tackle the project of installing and licensing a server for your business, check out our website at cobaltridge.com to see what we can do for you.